Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Fallen London. Today we're going to be carrying on with July's exceptional story we absolutely meant to go to sea. In the last episode we found a treasure chest, and now we have to continue with our on the Z to get to the next one, which means I may pull these and until we get a new thing, because I have a funny feeling they're going to be the same cards over and over and over again. Then again, on the Becalmed, we haven't done secure the children and ask them what they see. The mooring rope is long enough to run through their belts. If you hold the ends tightly, you can lean over in relative safety. Cat is entranced by whatever she sees. It's like I'm looking at a forest. Oh, it's changed. It's a building now, I think. That's not a very good description, says Rat, leaning over. It's... oh. Yes. Hawk is silent. He turns away from the water and lowers his feet. It's just water, he says sullenly. There's someone down there, swimming, just by the boat. All three lean to one side, tilting the gunwale perilously close to the water. Where? There! She's gone. The boat pitches abruptly, as if a great fish had knocked into its rudder. The motion sends ripples through the water, breaking the mirror-shine surface. And for the wind blows. Last time we listened to the voices. This time, let's reassure the children. Perhaps a logical explanation will help the children forget their fears. The children are unenthusiastic when you suggest it is an opportunity to learn. School is boring, says Rat. It's why we bunk off. Exactly. Boring is not frightening. You ask what could be making those undulating moans. Demons, says Rat, wide-eyed. But demons are just devils, and the children must have seen devils in the streets of London. They're far too sophisticated to go wailing like this. Brownies, suggests Hawk. No, Rat shakes her head. Mermaids have beautiful voices. This is horrible. Cat looks thoughtful. Perhaps it's just a wind blowing between the stalactites on the roof. With the introduction of this reassuring falsehood, you leave them to it. Aha! A huge, terrible beast of the undersea. This is what we're looking for. With a loud crash like a sudden geyser, a monster breaches the water. Several gnarled tentacles, thicker than your waist, wave in the water. They are only a few yards away. Its full size must be immense. What was it Cat had said? That he was a scientist and wanted to see a Z creature? Wish granted. You could even risk shifting the boat a little closer. You turn to Cat to see him huddling in the centre of the boat. I don't want to! I don't want to! Oh dear. So we can encourage the boy. You wouldn't put him in any more danger than he already is. And he was very convincing when he claimed to want to see such a thing. He might not get another chance. Or we can deter the child. No one should be forced to confront a fear. It should only ever be on their own terms. You can turn the boat and steam, slowly, in the opposite direction. Or we can not interfere. It's not for you to make decisions about the children's hopes and dreams. Let's encourage the boy. The child has time to muster up his courage. The boat sits resolutely still, despite its engine. You must be heading into a current. Cat grasps your hand to stand up, then turns and faces the waving monstrosity. He grimaces, as if he's bitten something sour. It's horrible. His hand squeezes tightly. His voice is small. That sucker could rip my face off. Barely audible. I don't like it. I do, says Rat. I bet the tentacles are squishy. We should go poke it, see if it reacts. That is probably an unwise idea. Fortunately, Whatever current you were caught in has released its grip. Your boat putters off, away from the Z creature. And we're back at sea again. Right, let me go through some of these cards again. Does appear to be the same 4 cards. Ooh, here's a new card. I don't want to. Rat rests her head on Hawk's shoulder. She seems about to fall asleep. Suddenly, she jerks bolt upright and stares at you. I don't want to see a mermaid. They aren't real. They're just drownies. And drownies are just wet people. Her face contorts as she struggles not to cry. I want Papa. I want to go home. Now the tears are unleashed. They show no signs of abating anytime soon. Well, we can soothe her. It's only a wonder this hasn't happened sooner, or we can leave this to her siblings. No, we'll go soothe her. It's not that she cares more for you than her brothers. It's just that you are bigger, so can provide an all-encompassing hug. Rat wraps her arms about your waist and presses her face into you. Captain Redhawk clears his throat. This is fun, but let's head home. He meets your eyes. We've been sailing so long, we'll surely be back in no time. Maybe if you'd lie down here. He takes off his jacket. You'll sleep and wake up already there. No response. Annie? An indignant head is lifted. I am Captain Red Rat, thank you very much. But she curls up on the boat floor. A crisis has been averted. For now, there'll be no whaling. But you still must get home. Somehow. Ah, here's another card. Clenched in mist. No sooner is Rat asleep than there is a clammy chill in the air. The chill heralds the onset of a mist. Light at first, it swiftly thickens until you can see no more than your hand before you. The cold and damp are a problem, but not the most immediate one. In fog this thick, not only will no ship see you to save you, but you could be run down. Your already dangerous journey has just become far more so. 2 options: look for flares. The boat was never meant to go to Z, but perhaps someone had the foresight to leave it some basic safety equipment. Or we can panic. You are lost at Z in a totally inappropriate craft. Stranded with 3 children, unused to the Z. Panic seems the sensible course of action. Let's look for flares. Beneath the bench, by the tiller, is a locker. Perhaps it was intended for supplies. Inside you find a roll of bandages, half an inch of string, and another small box of fungal crackers. The threat of the latter should keep your appetite at bay another few hours. You lift the seat of the bench on the port side, fuel for the engine, another tarpaulin, and nothing. Hawk checks the other side and pulls out a small storm lamp. The children are convinced it will help. You do not correct them. Still, it's a sliver of hope. Even if all it does is stave off panic, it helps. Oh dear. Caught in a swell, pitching and heaving at the same time is a recipe for nausea. Hawk is green about the gills. Cat is doubled over, holding his stomach. Rat is still asleep. Captain Carmine Silver, I'm scared. Hawk speaks softly. An abrupt jolt distracts him from your answer. The boat is being carried along again. The mist thins, enough to reveal that you're weaving through the stalagmites of the snares. We can make for Gaider's Mourn. It's not a safe harbour, but judging by the snares, it's the only one for miles around. Now Gaider's Mourn is a pirate's haven, so this should be fun. You are in the Corsair's Forest, a pirate-infested stretch of water. Gaider's Mourn is the only port in the forest where outsiders are even dimly tolerated. It'll have to do. You see the Mourn ahead as the mists part further. It is a stalagmite, vast as a crag. The Corsair's citadel nestles halfway up. There is no safe harbour at its foot. The Mourn hauls up ships into their berths. You'll need to send a signal and hope that those above look kindly on those below. You tell the children your intentions. Cat moves to the front of the boat to warn of stalagmites. Hawk huddles up close to you. "We're not really pirates," he tells you earnestly. "What if they kidnap us or feed us to bound sharks?" You are fortunate. A Corsair's ship is being lowered into the water. The captain peers over and, catching a sight of your meagre vessel, bursts into laughter. Grasping your situation, he flags a signal upward. Almost immediately, the Mourn flashes a signal back. You are to go up in 2 journeys, first you and the children, then the boat. It is small for their usual sling. They don't want to risk it slipping with you inside. Very considerate for pirates, if you think about it, their health and safety. Let's give the signal. A harness is lowered for each of you. Rat is woken. She is too excited to remember her fear. Hawk secures her before readying himself. The journey up is slow and nauseatingly rocky. Every time the swing is too wide, the winch is paused, and then you begin to climb again. As you rise higher and higher, you can see the Z below, a misted glass. At long last, you are hauled up onto solid ground. The winch operator's expression is impassive, till Rat introduces all 4 of you with your full pirate names. The operator sighs, fails to repress a smile, and finally concedes to reply. "Don't go anywhere. Your little boat's next. Might want to watch it come up." The view across the Z is breathtaking. Ships are mere dots below. The water shimmers like parabolan glass. Can you see the lights of London from here? Not quite, but those clusters of lights could be camps at the foot of the Salt Lions. Let's gather with the children at the edge. For most people, this is a never-in-a-lifetime experience. Your steam launch is raised, hanging precariously. Slowly, slowly, it ascends towards you, aiming for a berth just above your heads. It is just below the edge, now at eye level, groaning upwards. As it lifts above your heads, you catch sight of something pale caught on the rudder. Cloth? A loose sail? Whatever it is slides from its hold, landing wetly on the ground before you. It unfolds itself, rises to standing. A tall, pale woman with faded, salt-stained clothes. Her flesh is the greenish white of something that should have been long dead. A drownie. A drownie was clinging to the underside of the boat. How long had it been there? For a long moment, the drownie stares avidly at the children. Then she reaches out her hand to Hawk. He does not take it, instead shifting closer to you, his eyes fixed on her the whole time. The drownie flinches as if stuck. Tears brim in her eyes, the colour of squid ink. Finally, she speaks to you, not the children. "Please, help me." She wheezes the words, as if she's out of practice speaking, unused to breathing air. We can ask her what she wants. What need does she have for assistance from the shore? Or we can ask her what she's doing here. Why has she come to Gaider's Mourn? Are there easier harbours to reach? Let's ask her what she wants. She looks at you imploringly and repeats her previous request. A drowning pearl, an egg from a blue prophet, and some way to grind up the pearl. Some blue prophets nest here, up high. I could never reach one. Well, let's ask her what she's doing here. I'm guessing it's to see one of those people that she just talked about. I have told you, she sighs heavily. There is a bubbling sound, like water down an unblocked drain. I am here for your help. I can tell you more after. It would seem impossible for one her shade to grow even paler, but somehow she achieves it. She looks exhausted. Okay, let's confer with the children. If you're to find the things she asks for, you'll have to leave them alone. You can't have them clambering around with you. It's too dangerous. The three children put their arms around each other's shoulders and invite you to join them. Rat twists to stare over her shoulder. Mermaids are a weird colour. She's hushed. You think she has to be wet all the time, like a fish? She's hushed again. Maybe she could sing to us while we wait. Rat, at least, assumes you'll assist. Her brothers are more reluctant being abandoned, especially as it means standing around with the fish woman. Cat caves first. I am curious. Maybe she's creating a potion, like a scientist, like me. Hawk bites his lip. There's something about her I don't like it, but his next words rushed out. If someone needs help, you must help them. That's the rule of the Z. The children are decided then. At least it's a break from that tiny boat. This is the stage that the dock winches haul ships up to. It is the broadest part of the habitable section of the stalagmite, and the one most visited by tourists. That is, anyone who isn't a pirate. It hosts the docks, the tavern, the Arrant Limpet, a tattoo parlour, and a number of homes for the more permanent residents. The view across the Z is breathtaking. Ships are mere dots below. The water shimmers like parabolan glass. A pirate pushes by you. Stop your gawping and move. His tone isn't harsh. Even those familiar with the view understand. I mean, we have two options. We can climb up higher. Those who grow up here scurry up and down as easy as mountain goats. You'll have to work a little harder to find a stable handhold. Or we can enter the Arrant Limpet. Semi-respectable Londoners and corsairs frequent this insalubrious drinking den. Let's go to the Arrant Limpet. The Arrant Limpet is much like a wolf stack tavern. If such a tavern were bolted to a rock face distressingly high above ground. Several locals eye newcomers with suspicion. A pianist leads a drunken group in filthy songs. And there's the constant danger of an unwitting word igniting a bar fight. There, the similarities are lost. The locals are significantly more scarred and bearing more weapons. The songs are shanties, and the bar fights often result in a defenstration followed by a long drop. This isn't a place to make enemies. We can have a drink and ask about drowning pearls. All who pass through the Mourn stop for a drink here. If there are pearls to be found on the stalagmite, someone here will know of it. The ship's boy is standing watch over his captain, snoring face down on a table. The youth has barely touched his beer. I only like the foam. Unlike some of the other regulars, who turn away as you approach, he's more than willing to talk. Gotta do something while I wait. When he hears of your search, he looks thoughtful. He dips his finger in his captain's untouched drink and licks off a froth. You could enter a contest of riddles. Round the back of the docks, this level, it's kind of the thing they offer as a prize. Otherwise, he shrugs. I've never seen him in the market. Don't know why. Well, while we're here, let's ask if the tavern kitchen has anything that might crush a drowning pearl. Perhaps they have a tool for subduing errant sea creatures before cooking. The barmaid summons the cook, a wiry woman with short grey hair and a missing ear. She turns her head to listen to you, pointing to the absence. Gunshot. Can't hear a thing. She chuckles at the barmaid's wince. Clearly, it's an oft-repeated line. While considering your question, the cook picks dirt from under her nails. Finally, I do wallop the fish from time to time. Got a bloody great big mallet for that. But that'd be a bit much here. Hang about though. She heads out back. It's gone only a minute. Subtle spices are wasted on this lot. Have my pestle and mortar. But mind it gets back to me. One day, someone who can appreciate good food will turn up. Cook sighs. Well, I can dream. Pestle and mortar. Well, while we're here, it seems like it would be a shame to not have a drink, but we can also go over to the barmaid. She's cleaning a table in the far corner while making eye contact. Does she have something to share? It's none of my business, mind. She looks down and picks at a piece of flaking varnish. But drowning pearls mean drownies, and you don't live here without knowing someone lost to them. She smiles angrily. Of course, some don't call it lost. Some drownies can make you see what you want to see, and if you want to see it, it's your choice, or so they say. It's not the truth. Remember that. At this point, the table's buffed to a shine. She looks up. Maybe it's what you want, but just in case, there's a musician higher up. He helps someone escape a prison in Dahut, a drowny town. Help them see what's what. I talk to him, just so you have a choice. She bustles back to the bar and busies herself with a customer. And let's have that quiet drink. Away from the children, away from the Z, if only in vertical distance, and away from that tiny steam launch. For a moment, you can unwind. A salt-preserved Zayla, so weather-beaten as to be ageless, is telling Z stories to any who'll listen. He's telling tales of Captain Matilda and her quartermaster, Redbeard. The Zayla gesticulates wildly, describing a three-way battle between them, London's navy, and several ships of the Khanate. Wow. Same story again? In one corner, two captains are having a serious discussion. Their drinks are untouched, forgotten. You catch little of their words till one hisses through his teeth and spits out, "Mutiny?" He is abruptly aware of his mistake and looks at you till you break eye contact. Their conversation is not for you. Should we try one more time? A salt-preserved Zayla, so weather-beaten as to be ageless, is telling Z stories to anyone who will listen. He's telling tales of a romance, of the love between pirates that can never be destroyed, even by the Fathom King himself. Here's some scraps of incendiary gossip. Let's head back outside. Well, we can acquire a pearl, apparently. But should we climb higher up first? While we're here, we'll get the pearl. The ship's boy suggested you find those telling riddles, those round the back of the docks. The call of Zaylas suggests you might be nearby. Fisherfolk, scarred pirates, and Zaylas from less illegal vessels sit in a circle about a fire. To one side of the fire is a small pile of pearls. But they are not moon pearls. A woman with a scar where her left eye once was spots you hovering. She jerks her chin at you. First riddle's free. After that, you gotta pay. You going to play? Okay, so we can either answer the riddle, or we can steal it. Since my watchful is considerably higher than my shadowy, I'm going to go and answer a riddle. A free pearl. You'd be a fool not to try. Or we could get one of the children to steal one. Didn't they want to be pirates? This is piracy. Let's not do that. Answer the riddle. Fair and square. The riddle teller is clearly talking about smugglers crossing borders in the dead of night. By speaking of magic and mysticism, she's trying to throw you off. But it just points at a more romantic phrasing. Both spirits and thieves enjoy the witching hour. You have the answer. She grumbles but pays up readily enough. Thought you're a tourist. Next time I won't go easy. Wonderful. It's time for us to climb higher up. Once you find the beast paths and the urchin roads, you can traverse the wall of the stalagmite as you would a rocky moor, with an additional throatful of lurching terror. Here, a piton has been hammered into the rock. There, a rope bridges an injumpable gap. But largely, you're expected to know where you're going, and how to do it without falling. If you can't, well, you shouldn't be here. Oh dear. Few who don't live on the Mourn climb even this high. The vertiginous journey up from the water, the vessel creaking ominously in its sling, is enough to deter most from heading higher. But it is at this stage that the locals trade those few goods that are stolen from the Zee herself, and not other travellers. The salt stink of fresh fish announces the pungent presence of the Mourn's fish market. We have a look at the fish market. This fresh, even the most unusual fish, has more of an aroma than a stench. Perhaps something here will whet your appetite. Most of the stalls sell raw fish, or occasionally fish. The sellers move brusquely from customer to customer, intolerant of delays for indecision. There is one street vendor turning skewers on a grill. The grilled troglodyte prawns are huge and pale. The vendor describes them as tangy. The shredded jellyfish is a risk depending on how well it's prepared. The venom could make your tongue tingle and make you pleasantly giddy, but it's far more likely to send you running to the toilet for the rest of the day. Unless it kills you, of course. You now have enough fish. Okay, well, who knows, maybe those fish will come in handy. Let's climb up higher. Once you find the beast paths, you can climb higher. The air carries occasional wafts of fish from the market below, but otherwise it is fresh, almost heady. This high, the sounds of the docks are diminished and faint. You cannot hear the Zee at all, but it is not silent here. From one side there is the sound of a fiddle playing, a jaunty tune that catches at the mind and feet, begging you to dance. From the other there is an irregular thumping sound, punctuated by cheers and jeers in equal measure. Well, we can visit the fighting ring. Most of the competitors are pirates enjoying a break from the Zee. They are professional fighters too. There currently isn't a competitive fight on. Several men and women are working on heavy bags. One burly woman with arms the breadth of your thighs is pushing a heavy barrel back and forth around the arena. The shouts you'd heard come from a gaggle of tomb colonists watching a friendly match. They are notorious here for their appreciation of a violent match. One of the tomb colonists waves to you. You just missed a splendid bout. One of ours against a Carganian. I reckon he'll be a while coming back from the river. Another interjects. One of ours? Have you ever seen beneath her bandages? She could be from anywhere. Her moves are unusual. You won. She's ours. The first tomb colonist winks at you. At least he's self-aware. Let's visit the musician. You can make out the haunting notes of a fiddle. Is this the musician the barmaid mentioned? A man sits on a stack of crates, a worn violin tucked under his chin. He's playing a bouncing jig, its melody like the froth of a rising wave. He nods at you, but doesn't stop playing. The music crescendos. It rises and rises until the tune collapses, bubbling for nothing. Sorry about keeping you waiting. Been trying to get that right for weeks. He gives you a yellowing grin. Let's ask him about his time in the hut. The barmaid seemed to believe he had freed someone from the drownies below. Ah, that wasn't me. Ah. It emerges that the barmaid was only half right. This fiddler is not the one who broke someone free from the hut. That man had lingered too long under the waves. He's in the rack now, likely to remain there. The fiddler is momentarily solemn. But listen, you don't need the man, only the music. That grin again. He taught it to me, and I'll gladly play it for you. He raises his violin, closes his eyes, holds his bow poised over the strings. He plunges into the music, a tune suggesting the impact of metal and stone, a broken shell, a bubble of air slowly rising to the surface. It is a song of drowning, but it offers no romance. There is only pain. You have the song of the broken hulls. Climb up higher. These paths and urchin roads. Oh boy, the view is alluring. So vast is it laid out before you. You could be a king, a god, considering your domain. It is the kind of view that tempts one with the power of flight. It would be a whimsy, swiftly regretted. When you hit the sea, I imagine. The fog that trapped your steam launch is a mere smear of grey far below. Even in the dim light of the false stars, you can see what feels like forever. No wonder the Navy gave up trying to surprise the pirates that live in the Corsair's forest. They'd need lights to navigate the snares, and any ship showing a light would be seen from miles. We can leap to the rock outcropping. A few handholds have been cut into the stone. It is seldom transversed. The only souls here are the blue prophets that wheel far above. The view is gloomy and bleak, and a powerful reminder of how little impact London has had on the Neath, how little of the Neath you've seen. Someone has carved a bench from the stone. Here. How often did they come to watch the twinkle of passing ships, to gaze at the water glowing with algae? Were they watching for someone in particular, or just watching? Just above the bench, there is a hole in the rock. Beneath it, on the seat back, are scraps of cloth, splinters of wood. Indications of a parrot nest? You peer inside the hole before reaching in. No need to risk bitten fingers. An egg. The rest are gone, hatched or stolen by a cunning predator. Even in the dim light of the false stars, the egg is a deep, inky blue. A blue prophet egg. Can I get another one? No, it's empty. You took the last of the clutch of eggs. I guess we have to climb back down now. Was this handhold crumbling on the way up? It breaks beneath your fingers. You scramble undignifiably down. If your legs shorten somehow, the foot placement seems so very distant. Inch by palm-sweating inch, you make your way to safer ground. No wonder the Mourn's pirates are so comfortable on a ship, no matter the Z conditions. The agility required there is as nothing. Oh, climb back down again. And one more. And we can return to the Drowny. You have gathered all that she requested. The Drowny is where you left her, not far from where the steam launch hangs in its cradle. She stands far nearer the cliff edge than most dare, but she doesn't seem concerned. Her gaze is far away, out to the swell of the waves. When you address her, she turns away from the children, as if ashamed to look at her. You have what I asked for? Please. Let's hand over the items. She reaches out eagerly, almost desperately. The Drowny places the pearl in the mortar. and sets at it with the pestle, humming as she does. It sounds like the drone of a distant swarm. When the pearl is sufficiently ground, the drownie takes out the blue egg. She cracks it so that the yolk spills into the powder, tossing the shells over the cliffside. She swirls the mixture like it were a whiskey, and then, without ceremony, she raises the bowl and downs its content in a few noisy, lip-smacking slurps. The buzzing hum continues, but becomes clearer, as though the sound had before been heard through thick velvet drapes. It remains wordless, but the melody is clear, upbeat, recurrent. As the song fades, she extends her arms and smiles. She is the same, yet altered. Her appearance as Drownie was the salt-drenched shadow of what she is now. Wow, that's a definite change right there. The Drownie turns to face the children, for the first time not flinching away when they stare. "Hello, my darlings," she says. Her voice is warm, her accent has the lilt of Corsair's forest. "I'm your mother, as it happens. I'm sorry I didn't tell you before." Her gaze falls. She looks embarrassed, though at the perfunctoriness of her revelation or her absence, it is not clear. The three children gawp at her. Cat's mouth gapes with wonder. None speak. The Drownie's smile falters. "It's not been that long. Don't you—" She is interrupted before she can finish. "You look like her." Hawk glares at the Drownie. "I remember her. I remember our mother. But she left. She's gone." Question the Drownie. How can you be sure she is who she says she is? She sighs. "Of course they don't remember. This would be much easier if their father was here." She pauses for a long moment, her expression conflicted. "If he were here, he'd know me. But if he were here, I wouldn't need to be. But someone had to keep an eye on you." She controls her flare of irritation. "Before the children were born, he and I'd sit together here, high up. We'd look out to sea and plot where we'd travel. Once we had a ship of our own, when we finally got one. I left a locket he gave me into a cranny in our seat, for luck, for returning. It might still be there. It has your father's image in, and I wouldn't know about it if I wasn't me." Drownie believes she can prove her claims. Cat nods thoughtfully. "I'd recognise father, obviously. That does make sense." Rat is already convinced. "I always knew our mother was beautiful." He beams up at the Drownie. "Like me." Hawk's expression is dark. "You can't do this. They don't remember what happened. They were fine." He presses his lips together, turns to you, his eyes brimming with tears. "Could you go look? Please?" "Alright, let's go fetch the locket. Maybe you know the location she means. The children can't manage the handholds, and if she went, she could plant the locket. The task falls to you." Rat and Cat stare up at the Drownie woman with nervous adoration. Hawk watches her from a little further off. His gaze is thoughtful, almost wistful. That attention is fixed on her as you make the ascent. "You gonna make me climb all the way up again?" "Okay. I think we have to jump to the outcropping again. Dig your toe into that hole there, cross your leg over to that lump of rock, then push off. It's not really that far, it's just the penalty if you slip that makes it look so." Yeah, the splat. Blue prophets wheel high above you, screaming at your intrusion. They do not speak your name, at least, so perhaps it's a lucky omen. Most of the cracks and crannies are filled with guano. Bat poo. On the side of the seat, you only discover a freshly scratched, crude image. Beneath the slab of the bench, you find, under a layer of moss, A chain tarnished black. It holds a locket, pockmarked by corrosion. You crack the locket open. 2 miniatures, focusing on the sitter's eyes. So little of the face is shown that you couldn't identify someone from the pictures. But if you knew a person, you might recognize them. You'd best take the locket back down, see what the children make of it. Okay, back down we go. This is an exercise. This is like a proper workout routine. Take the locket to the children. Perhaps the faces depicted inside will be familiar to them. Perhaps the drownie is telling the truth. Hawk, who is still between the drownie and the other children, sees you first. You have it? His tone is clipped, almost adult. Rat reaches for the locket and opens it eagerly to reveal 2 close-ups, each picture focusing on a pair of eyes. No more of the face is shown. It's just eyes. How are we supposed to tell? Cat takes the locket to Hawk, clearly their traditional arbiter. Hawk considers the locket with the solemnity of a judge. Finally, as if making the most important proclamation of all time, "This is our father." He then holds the locket up, compares it to the drownie's face. From what you can see, there isn't enough for a definite answer. And this is you, Mother. Has he spotted something, or is it wishful thinking? The moment that Hawk has decreed the drownie to be their mother, the children are stunned, silent. Rat plops herself at the drownie's feet and gazes up at her. Cat stands beside her and leans his head on her hip. Even Hawk has lost his protective ferocity. The drownie offers him his hand, and he takes it. Almost unconsciously. The children look at each other. There are nudges, glances, quiet utterances of, "You first. No, you." Finally, Rat turns to you. Would you ask questions for them? Got a few options here. Can we ask what happened to her? Were you always a drownie? This question comes from Rat. You didn't notice her elder brother's face darken when she suggested it. The woman leans down to push the fringe out of Rat's eyes. I became a drownie when you were very small. Why? I didn't choose to be one, but my boat sank, and I got too tired to swim to shore. Why? It was a very long way away. No, why sink? Oh, well, I sailed us into a fog, like you were in. I thought I could get us through, but we hit a reef. Why did you choose to go into a fog? I was being chased. I wanted to escape. Rat draws herself up, pulls a fierce face. Who dared chase you? The Navy. The woman looks briefly smug. Took 3 ships to catch me. Rat scowls. So it's the Navy's fault you're a drownie? I'm going to sink their stupid ships. The woman sighs. In which case, best not to place blame, eh? Okay, why is she here? Why has she appeared at Geiger's Mourn? Why now? It is clear that the cat has an answer he's hoping to appear. To see you, of course. The woman holds Cat's gaze. In the water, I was so close to you 3, and you didn't even know I was there. She closes her eyes. I hoped you'd remember me, but you were all so young. I remembered you. I remember when. Hawk face pales. Why didn't you come back sooner? I've had to look after. His voice warbles. I know, little one. I'm so sorry. Something about her expression hardens. But I came as soon as you were at Z. I was there for you when you were in danger, which you shouldn't have been in. If your father... She shakes her head. Sorry. I'm here now. Can she go home with the children? Rat bounces up and down where he's sitting. Perhaps they can even surprise their father with a visit. Of Rat's suggestion. Cat glances at his brother. I'll come all the way home with you. The woman smiles and looks away. I'm going to see you all the way back to your father in London. Wonderful. Is she a pirate? Cat tilts his head to consider the woman's clothes. They certainly wouldn't muster in respectable London. Would you like me to be one? The woman wiggles her eyebrows. Like all these people? Yes, shrieks Rat. The woman laughs. I was one. Although at the time I'd have probably called it something tedious, like an independently contracted liberator of Z-ferried goods. Rat scrunches up her nose, unimpressed. I like that, an independently contracted liberator of Z-ferried goods. I have to keep that one. I like that. Can they stay with her at the Mourn? Hawk said this so quietly that you almost missed it. He looked away immediately after, as if regretting his words. You repeat it, nevertheless. I'm sorry, the woman squeezes Hawk's hand. He snatches it away. I can't stay out at Z forever, and you mustn't live here without someone to care for you, she sighs. You've barely glimpsed what this place is like. The Mourn is friendly today because you are new children here, a novelty. Tomorrow? Well, the Z changes. It can be brutal. I couldn't protect you. So she does have to go back to the Z then. Can she open this box? Rat has had the treasure chest brought down from the steam launch. Where did you get that? The woman half laughs. I didn't think he'd have kept it. The children explain with a degree of embellishment the map found in their house, the voyage to a vast mountain. Oh, and they rescued Carmine Silver. While the children talk, the woman twists and punches at the box. Open sesame. She has it open. It's just another piece of paper. Cat peers beneath it, then pushes the whole lot to one side. The paper is a song about the fearsome Red Quartermaster and his legendary facility with ledger and scales. It is not mean-spirited, but it is not complimentary. The woman turns to you. I wrote it years ago. He claimed to hate it. Right, and I think I'm going to have to end the episode here. Hopefully there will be enough for another episode. Full episode, I should say, in the next part of the story. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, let me know what you think. Your comments are greatly appreciated. And as always, I'll see you next time.